I have here a Sony WM-R707 recording Walkman, and according to the Walkman Archive, this is the world's smallest recording Walkman. I want to say right off the bat though that the recording function in this is very half-assed. So for a start, while this unit has Dolby noise reduction, we can see here that it's for playback only. Also, while this unit has the capability to function with normal and chrome and metal tapes, I believe the recording function will only work with normal and can't record onto chrome or metal tapes. So really this is just a glorified voice recorder if you want to look at the recording function. The only input is microphone, and that tells you right there that the recording in this isn't for any sort of high quality recording. Okay, let's open it up and have a look. Okay, we can see here, as well as the record and playback head, we do have two erase heads, and these are actual proper erase heads. In cheap recording decks they will often put just permanent magnets here. However, since this is a very small Walkman, they have to sort of use these electromagnets because you can't move the permanent magnets away from the tape in a Walkman very easily. So Sony have put proper erase heads in here and then just switch them on when it's time to record. We can see the two caps and motors and pinch rollers for each direction. And under this cover here we have the battery, which does hold some charge, but this unit is dead. So it's time to take it apart and have a look inside. Battery first, there's that. Okay, there we go for the insides, and right away we can see here are the belts that have degraded, and they're pretty sticky. Just about any cassette recorder you find that's of vintage is going to have bad belts in it. I mean, this belt material is like a liquid now. Okay, well the belt has turned to a mush. I do have this bag of belts. Unfortunately they're all quite a larger thickness than the original belt. So I've gotten one of these medium-sized belts and done the wrong thing and completely stretched it out so that it's the right size in length, and it's a lot thinner, and it will probably break soon. So let's have a look at that belt. Yeah, it's definitely a lot floppier, it's a bit thinner, and it's larger than it was. While we're open like this, may as well have a lift of the main board and have a look on the other side. Now, I don't have a service manual for this, but it's very similar to the WM-701C. So I do have one of those service manuals, and that's close enough for most of the things I want to do. Okay, I had a close-up look at this connector. It's an unusual one. It looks like you push it there, and that does the release. Okay, And this circuit board is so thin. Okay, that gives us a bit of a better view. We can see the whole mechanism there. And we've got the other side of the board, and there's some capacitors there, which is good to know about because they could be a problem. Got a tiny little switch here. We have what looks like an infrared sender and detector. So this LED block, this is a custom made LED block with forward, reverse and record. Let's see if we can put this back together and install our stretched belt. Okay, so this belt. Or maybe I just should have done this wheel first. It's a bit twisted, but it's on there as it should. It does sort of appear to be okay. I wouldn't mind getting those twists out of it though. This battery, although it's holding some charge, it's not enough to run the Walkman. So I'm going to have to do external power. Negative and positive. And we'll give it 1.2 volts. And we're powered up. Okay. We're playing or rewinding or fast forwarding. Okay. For Sony's connector for their headphone and remote control, 9 pins. Fortunately there is in the service manual pinout. So it's not too hard to make an adapter to go to the headphone socket. So now audio can be tested. So let's get that plugged in. So let's stop. Find a better place for the power. We'll go back to the external battery. And I've noticed on this little switch here that this connector here has some green corrosion on the end. So I'm going to clean that up. Okay, time for a test tape. Okay, let's use this TDK to test. Pretty good. Play. That's the end of the tape. Stop. How do I change directions on this thing? Oh, play is direction, of course. There it goes. listen. I can hear a hum. So I've got 4 surface mount electrolytics here and 1 through-hole electrolytic. I think it might be a good idea to change those. Okay, after the capacitor change we've got good audio coming out. See if we can get some of these cables down. Okay, it's back in its back case there. Now I do have a battery to test, so let's get it out. I may have to charge this, but I can't wait, so I'm just going to test it to see if there's any charge in it right now. Looks good. I'm quite pleased with this now, except it still doesn't play in reverse. We do have the problem with that pinch roller, but it can play in forward. And the final problem that I want to sort out with it is the wow and flutter is terrible, because the belt that I put in there is simply not good enough. But knowing that I can play a tape in this now, I've gone ahead and purchased a belt. There we go. So I'm going to put this belt in and then check the wow and flutter, and if that's all good, then I can listen to my Walkman. Okay, there's the substitute belt. Let's take that one out. I'm pretty happy that the substitute belt allowed me to test the unit enough to get it into a playing. Let's get the proper one in there now. Okay, that's on. That looks pretty good. Let's do a test. I have my homemade headphone adapter. And for the tape I have this metal XR. And I didn't record the music on here myself. Okay, that's not latching at the moment. I'm going to have to check that spring. Oh, it just latched then. Okay. Okay, let's have a listen. Here we go. Okay, well that sounds pretty good. We have a lot less wow and flutter. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. So that's done. I'm still going to encapsulate this in some black epoxy of some sort. Got to check that hinge mechanism. But that's it, that's my Walkman. All done.